Okay, so right now I'm back home. I just finished lab and OSCE is in 2 weeks. OSCE is an examination of our physical examination skills. I have to pass that for my core nurse practitioner program before I can specialize in the psychiatric part of the nurse practitioner program. So every single nurse practitioner has to be able to demonstrate that they can do a full head to toe physical exam on any patient, on anything, before they can move on. So that's the big thing for us right now, specifically for me, because the exam is timed for 20 minutes. So you first walk in there, you get a piece of paper, and it says the basic information about the patient. For example, the patient's demographic, name, age, and common complaint. Then you have 5 minutes to make a quick template of what you're going to ask the patient. Then you walk in and into a room, like an actual physical exam room with an actual actor who acts as your patient, and you ask specific questions. Now, before I even start to tailor the exam, I have to make sure that I ask everything that's relevant to the patient's complaint. And if I miss anything, for example, if the patient has any lung or chest problems that they're complaining about, and I ask everything and do everything right, but I didn't ask if the patient was a smoker, then I completely fail the exam. Or if the patient's barely going to talk, but if I do the exam and I do it so slowly that I go past the 20-minute mark, I fail the exam. So basically, if I'm prepared and I know what I'm doing, it's an easy breeze. But if I'm not prepared and then I start to lose focus and then I lose confidence, for example, if they don't tell you the disease ahead of time, but you have to incur whatever body system the patient is complaining about and then tailor your general head to toe exam from top to bottom. I can do whatever exam I want, but if I don't do it in a logical and linear fashion, and if I start doing, like, let's say the patient complains of like a cough or a headache, and then I start messing around with the genitalia or the abdomen, then I'm going to lose points for that. Not only because I'm going to lose time, but because it's irrelevant. So those are the things that I have to worry about. And then after that, I have to make sure that I don't miss anything, other red flags, and then I have another 20 minutes to write an actual examination note based on what I found. So, for example, if I'm going to be doing a head-to-toe assessment on a patient or whatever body system, I have to make sure I do the head, eyes, ears, nose, and throat, is what we call the HEAT exam. And then I do a lung examination and then a heart examination, and I have to do that in a chronological order. Also, if I forget to put my stethoscope right on the patient's skin, that's an automatic fail. And if I also forget to listen to all the lobes of the lungs, that's an automatic fail. And if I forget to listen to all the cardiac sounds, that's an automatic fail. So I think what I've got today now is a basic read through what I'm going to do for my physical exam. Okay, this doesn't involve the questions I do prior to that or the write-up I do afterwards. But let's say I finish interviewing the patient and I say, okay, I'm ready to interview. I'm ready to examine you now. Then I'll start from head to toe. I'll start trying to see a patient is asymmetric and have any signs of trauma. I'll ask if this hurts in the sinus. I don't have to say what I'm doing because I wouldn't do that for a patient. But I need to show that I know what I'm doing, not just that I'm making stuff up, because aside from the professional actor or actress, our professors will be looking at us and they know whether or not we'll know. So ask this, if this hurts, check lymph nodes here, lymph nodes here, lymph nodes here, lymph node, lymph, down here, lymph, and lymph. So I'm doing that on both sides, and then I check the extraocular muscles. So looking at the cranial nerves 3, 6, 3, back to primary 3, 6, 3, 4, and then 3, 4, 6. Yeah. See, I was trying to remember. And then after that, I get the otoscope. I check the ears. Look in the mouth, look in the nose, and then try on the line on the ice. After that, I have the patient shrug their shoulders. That finishes alt. I don't have to do all the cranial nerves unless I do a neuro exam. After that, I get my stethoscope, and then I listen to I tell the patient that I'm going to put my stethoscope in their skin. I'll probably have them just unrobe whatever's just to expose that part. And then I say every time I put my stethoscope down into your into your skin, I'll just take a deep breath for me. So I listen 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, 5, 6 in the front, 5, 6 in the front. And while I'm in the front, I'll do a cardiac exam. So I'll listen to ape to man. So apex, pulmonary, Erb's point, tricuspid, and mitral. And then I'll go behind the patient and start listening to 7 lobes, 7 areas to listen to all 5 lobes of the lungs. And then after that, I can start to move on to whatever focused exam that the patient is worried about. So if it's genital urinary or if it's an abdominal exam, then I'll do my abdominal exam. Granted that I did from the top to bottom right here, as well as my lungs and my heart. So then I can move on to whatever's down here, below my heart and my lungs. But if it's like fever or whatever, then I'll spend more time up here rather than down there. So it's hard to explain, and I've been having a hard time, but I have 2 weeks now before the final exam happens, and it was very exciting to see RNs with lab coats, because we have to have our lab coats, be very professional for the exam, but I'm just worried about making sure that I pass the test. That's it. Wish me luck. Wish me luck. Here's Howie. Bye. Out.